Hello, my name is Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and welcome to another 2014 League of Legends World Championship video analysis. For this match, we have Samsung White versus AHQ Esports Club. It will be their first match of group stages. Once again, this is not a shoutcast, it is an analysis. There will be a lot of times where I won't be paying attention or talking about the match, but rather I'll be talking about macro level strategy throughout the teams, win conditions, and how teams can pull them off, and what they do in-game to pull them off or to not pull them off. I'll also be talking about how teams can come back from behind and what they could have done throughout the match or in pick and ban phase to help them get the win. If you haven't watched this before, there will be spoilers. I'm going to assume you know who wins and you've seen the match. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy, and let's get into picks and bans. Samsung White have first banned out Lucian, Fizz, and Zed. They're target picking Westdoor, trying to pull him off his assassins and into champions that he's less uncomfortable on. However, he does end up getting Twisted Fate, which is one of his premier champions, so it doesn't quite work out. On AHQ side, we see very standard bans for the Worlds. Alistar, Ryze, Zillion. Alistar, Zillion being very standard bans for purple side, almost required, and then they pick one of the top trifecta to pull out of the rotation, which is Ryze. We see Lee Sin grabbed by Samsung White first. Very standard Lee Sin versus Kha'Zix. AHQ pick up Twisted Fate. Very early pick. They didn't need to do this. I don't think Samsung White plays Twisted Fate at all. They didn't play it at all for Worlds. Was completely unnecessary for them to show off this pick. It very much gives them countered, and as we'll see, puts a very easy choice onto Samsung White for their mid laner. Their second picks on Samsung White are Thresh and Maokai, and currently we see a trend of knockups in every lane. This comes into play on the third rotation of picks for Samsung White when we get Yasuo, and now we see a team comp where every lane can contribute to Yasuo's synergy. This is one of the deadliest things you can ever give another team, especially one like Samsung White, who loves to fight. Yasuo, with the right synergy, can control the entire game. On AHQ side, we see Nidalee being picked up into Maokai. Fairly even matchup. It really solidifies them into needing a split push team, and not even necessarily a poke team, as they have no disengage. Jinx is also picked up, and being the weak laner that Jinx is, this allows Samsung White to pick up Twitch, which Imp loves to play, so they can pick up Twitch and go into the 2v2 lanes. We also see the last pick from AHQ is Blitzcrank, and not fond of this, especially picking Blitzcrank into Thresh. I feel that Thresh is superior in almost every way, at least in lane, and that even if a grab happens, Thresh has the tools to turn that into a winning fight for his side instead of Blitzcrank's side. Also, Blitzcrank and Jinx don't have a lot of synergy. There's not really anything that Blitz brings to Jinx or Jinx brings to Blitz. She's not upfront burst, she doesn't have easy to hit CC. It's just not a good lane synergy. I would have preferred them to have not picked Blitzcrank, instead, say, picked Nami. They also could have picked Nidalee early, though maybe that would have ended up with, no, Ryze was banned, so Nidalee picked top if they wanted to. They could have picked that before picking Twisted Fate. This would have allowed AHQ to pick Yasuo to prevent this every lane synergy with him. I'm going to hold off on a second on talking about team compositions, as there is a play that comes up, and if you've seen this game, you know it's the AHQ invade that goes terribly wrong, and how AHQ messed this up so badly. This is really, the game is over in the first minute and a half of this match. AHQ are a team that need to split push, they need to stay behind. They need to stay ahead, they need to split push. They cannot play from behind, especially with the strong engage wall composition of Samsung White. So we see Samsung White, they went out, they put wards in every place. they've already predetermined that they want to fight. They have all the vision. They know AHQ has no vision of them, so they're setting themselves up for this 5v5. They responded with this line of scrimmage, backed off, and put the wards. AHQ are on a ward. They don't have a sweeper, so they're in complete vision. Here, no skill shots go out. Watch. Blitz goes in, just walks in. And here we see the fight goes entirely in Samsung White's favor because Samsung White get the jump on level 1, they get the huge thresh flay, and from there they can just clean up. Lots of times when you see level 1 invades, it's all about who gets a jump on somebody, and here we can see since Samsung White got the jump onto AHQ, they win. This is really bad play by AHQ, is they didn't bring a sweeper to check to see if they were on top of a ward, so they didn't know if they were in vision if they had been seen. And when they go to invade, you notice there's no ward check in this bush. Blitz could have fired his hook, Nidalee could have thrown a spear, anything could have happened that would have given them vision. If Blitz had just gone max range hook, they could have pulled somebody out into the team and then thrown their damage onto that person. Stun cards, spear, Q, whatever. They could have had the advantage. If Nidalee had thrown a spear, they would have got warning and vision. If they had even just thrown out a ward into that bush, they could have had it and been on with life. Unfortunately, they don't do anything to check this bush. They just walk into it. They get hit by a 3-man flay, and it just ends the game for them, essentially. Samsung White have almost a 2,000 gold lead, and they're not even at level... AHQ's not even at level 2 yet. Every lane is going back with extra items, extra pots. Lee Sin starting with a Spirit Stone. It's just everything is working out for Samsung White in this situation. And it's all because AHQ got sloppy. They didn't use their skill shots to check bushes. They didn't bring a sweeper. It's like, if you're going to go for the invade, if you're going to bring blitz, don't face check bushes. At least hook check, at least spear check. Do something. So, unfortunately for AHQ, that kind of ends the game for them right there. They got aced at level 1, and now they're just going to get bullied in every lane possible. We see Nidalee gets dived 3-man at the bottom, and then Maokai just goes top and he takes this whole wave. Since there wasn't a freeze on top because of the shenanigans in the forest, Maokai can just go roam while the 2v1's happening, and then come back top when the wave is pushed. Doesn't lose much XP, gets way ahead of Nidalee. Just everything's working in Samsung White's favor. So, for the rest of this game, all Samsung White have to do is play the lane, get to their ultimates, bully, just be lane bullies, be level 6 bullies mid-game. They're just so far ahead, and AHQ's team is about split push and poke, and then the occasional grab with blitz. They don't have the tools to really come back from this. They could go for some crazy blitz grabs, just send him out to roam all the time and all over the place and follow Kha'Zix around, essentially. They kind of have to sacrifice him. Even if he stays like at level 3, it might be okay for a while. But send him with Kha'Zix to go make plays in places. And they do move out. They are trying to do something. It's just very unfortunate for them, and it's going to be hard. So, having said that, watch the match play out. I'm going to move back and start talking about team compositions. AHQ's team composition is really difficult to pull off. They're going for split push with Nidalee, and if they had gotten the standard lanes, it could have worked out. Nidalee does beat Maokai in lane, and she doesn't really have kill potential unless she lands spears, so Maokai just needs to sit within the creep waves and heal up from auto attacks with his passive and try to keep the wave clear. Once Nidalee hits her Triforce, though, she really will spike in that lane. Even with just the phase or the sheen, she gains a lot of strength against Maokai. And then once she does complete the Trinity Force, she takes over that lane. Maokai can no longer fight her if he's even or behind. and she can split push to her heart's content. Also, Twisted Fate will be able to just farm, get his level 6, and then go make plays around the map. Help Nidalee get to that split push potential. Go bottom with the stun card so that he lines up the blitz hook. Twisted Fate needs to make the plays and facilitate things around the map. So AHQ just needs to be safe in their lanes in this team composition. They can't lose the lanes, they can't fall behind, and then they need to make plays with Twisted Fate, get Nidalee to split push. Jinx and Blitzcrank don't really fit into this team composition, and I don't like their picks. And here is why. Jinx is really she's really tower push heavy. She wants to be in fast push team compositions where you go for the 2v1s, take out the tower early, move on to the next one, just keep going. You want to be on heavy catch comps or heavy siege comps. Some type of team who's always going to be pushing turrets, where you spend more time at enemy turrets than you do in lane once like the 7-minute mark passes. You're going for these big 5-on-5 group fights and not for small skirmishes or anything. And that's why she doesn't really work in a split push comp, because she doesn't provide too much in defense. Yes, she can hit wave clear, but she has to get close, and it takes 2 or 3 shots instead of, say, the 1Q and Rocket of Corki to clear a wave. So that she doesn't really fit into this defensive split push composition that AHQ have. Blitzcrank doesn't either. He doesn't provide disengage. He's something who wants to make plays, get picks. He's much better in a skirmish type comp, one that's going to run around, you pull people out of position, and get catches, stuns with teams with CC or teams who want to brawl. AHQ's team doesn't want to brawl, therefore Blitz doesn't really fit in. So, in terms of AHQ's team comp and strategy, stay safe in lane, get Nidalee to the point where she can split push, let her split push, while the rest of the team does either base defense with wave clear of Kha'Zix's Twisted Fate, or very slow pushes forward with good wards to watch out for Maokai, Twitch, lots of pinks to look for the Twitch stealth engages and to prevent Maokai from getting flank teleports, and put pressure on the mid turret while Nidalee does the split push. You really have to rely on Nidalee taking out that split push. On Samsung White's side, their team composition is what you can easily call a Yasuo composition. Every lane has a knock-up. It's so easy for Yasuo, who is extremely strong when he has synergy, to get his knock-up, to get the damage, get into the other teams and sow chaos. Especially with Maokai, that's one of the strongest synergies for him. And Lee Sin as well. Those are probably the top 2 synergies for Yasuo in terms of still having the champions be fairly viable. You all know Malphite's really good with Yasuo, but he's not quite as viable as Maokai Lee Sin. Anyways, Maokai goes in, he gets the knock-up with his Q, Yasuo dives in, and now Yasuo has got the damage, and he's also in the damage reduction aura of Maokai. It's really great. Yasuo diving in also gets the protection. With Lee Sin, it's another easy-to-hit, guaranteed knock-up, great for taking out the middle lane, great in these skirmishes and these small 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s in the jungle objectives. There's so much control in Yasuo comps like this that the other team can't do much about it. On icing on the cake, Thresh is also able to help out Yasuo. So what we should see, and are seeing, from Samsung White, is that they play the lanes, they get to the level 6, and then at the level 6, they just start rolling through the jungle of AHQ. Maokai, Yasuo, Lee Sin will completely control red buffs. Lee Sin, Yasuo can go for the blue buffs of AHQ, and they just force these plays, and all they need is just to get close enough for that knock-up, and Yasuo goes in, and they can win the fight from there. Nidalee, Kha'Zix, and Twisted Fate are all squishy enough that just the single combo should be enough to win a skirmish fight for them. And then that's all Samsung White need to do. They get the Yasuo synergy, the jungle skirmishes and the fights, and get a couple kills, transition that into Dragon, transition the Dragon into more jungle objectives, and keep building a lead with this skirmish composition, and then move it on to towers. Twitch fits into this just because he's strong. He's sort of like another hyper carry. He's protected by the wall of Samsung White. There's nobody on AHQ's team who is going to get behind and attack Twitch, so when Maokai goes in, and is followed by Yasuo, Lee Sin, Thresh can go in as well, Twitch is left alone to spray, or to rat-a-tat-tat now, from the back line and deal all the damage he needs to. He's under no threat because of the, what I like to call, football line wall in front. You can consider Twitch to be the quarterback, and the rest of the team to be the linebackers, if I remember football correctly. And that's the team compositions. Samsung White have fulfilled their win condition by getting the early advantage, getting the skirmishes. So they're constantly putting pressure in the jungle. They're not worrying too much about pressuring turrets because they know they just can get kill after kill after kill after kill. And AHQ cannot do anything about it. We do see some good blitz plays in this match. And Samsung White do get a little overzealous. They're having fun. They're way ahead. But Blitz, I almost think if anytime you pick Blitz, you should go for the 2v1, unless your ADC is far superior, only because of how weak Blitz is in lane. Unfortunately, that would have really put a hamper onto Nidalee, and it did in this match, but we can't say that that's what they wanted to do. They just lost the game early on with that failed invade. Here we see the advantage being used again. Yasuo, Lee Sin picking on Blitz. Easy kill. At this point, once again, Samsung White getting a bit greedy. So AHQ, I mean, it's hard to say they're not out of it. I mean, they haven't given up. They're still making plays, but they're all based upon Samsung White being a little silly. Samsung White, if they really wanted to win, could just go from objective to objective to objective instead of running around and trying to get kills, but this is a little bit more entertaining, even if it's not the best way to win. It does run the danger. Samsung White could be running something like a 15-1, 15-2, so keep that in mind, people. You can throw games to your head. At some point, you do need to make sure you say, okay guys, time to stop. Here Samsung White show how far they are ahead. They go in 3v4 and come out with the win in the fight. Not too much else to say at this point. I'll start talking about individual lane matchups then. Forgot I hadn't done that yet. So, top lane, Maokai, Nidalee, I talked a little bit about that. It's really in Nidalee's favor, especially when she gets her damage with the Triforce. She can bully, she wins the split push. There's not a whole lot Maokai is able to do, simply because Nidalee is very slippery, as well as good sustain with her heal. Maokai can be ready for when Yasuo comes nearby, because Maokai plus Yasuo should be able to kill Nidalee, and Yasuo will be able to stick onto her. Especially if he's running around with the blue buff or has his Blade of the Rune King or something. So that's the answer to the split push, is sending Yasuo, but it does mean a 2v1, and that would give AHQ the opportunity, with Yasuo missing, to take out a turret. In terms of the mid lane, Yasuo versus Twisted Fate, I would say the lane is kind of even. At the start, Twisted Fate is able to get poked down and Yasuo can't respond to it very easily. However, if Twisted Fate lets himself get too close, Yasuo can dash through the creeps and start attacking, and he will win the straight up trade and fight. Twisted Fate will have to make sure to save his stun card if he wants to go close to the creeps. So he'll have to time when he goes in, when to use the blue card right, when to use the yellow card. Essentially, you'd probably want to blue card the creeps when they first come up, the wave starts, back off, wait for your gold card to come, your pick a card to come back up, then you can go in, get a little harassed. As soon as Yasuo tries to dash you, pull out the gold card, stun him, back off, and then respawn again. It's all about managing those cards against him in this lane. At level 6 though, it's really going to turn into Yasuo's favor, most like every Twisted Fate lane. Hopefully by this time Twisted Fate has got enough AP that he can one-shot a creep wave with pick a card, red card, and then wild cards. If not, 2 wild cards. Then he could just run away, look for something else somewhere. At 6, it's all going to be about where he uses his ultimates. He's going to lose the lane to Yasuo at this point. He just needs to make sure he can farm, let his passive keep him up in gold, and go help out in Italy or Blitz and Jinx. In the bot lane, Twitch, Thresh, decent lane, not lane bullies at all. They don't have any real strength. Let's say if they were to fight Nami Lucian or Braum Lucian, so anything with Lucian or Corki, even Caitlyn, and potentially even Kog'Maw. We've seen that comes out on top, Kog'Maw Nami. But anyways, Twitch, Thresh. Against Jinx Blitz, they actually have the advantage. Twitch has a skill at level 1, whereas Jinx doesn't. Twitch gets in there, gets a couple shots off, gets a sponge onto Jinx. He wins the level 1 fairly easily. Thresh is much superior to Blitz, in my opinion, in the bot lane matchup during the laning phase. Even if Blitz gets a hook onto Thresh, Thresh just goes straight for Jinx. She doesn't have an escape. Flash into hook. By hooking Thresh, you kind of just gave him distance to get onto Jinx. Even if he really wanted to, he could throw the lantern back. Also gives Twitch range to get into Jinx. Whereas if Blitz hits Twitch, Thresh can throw out the lantern and protect him. So Blitz can't really get a hook in this lane without putting his own team at a disadvantage. And if he does hit Twitch, it's just an easy lantern out. It's not that big a deal. That's why I don't like Blitz into Thresh. A lot of times the Blitz hook is detrimental to your team or just not useful. Whereas if Thresh gets a hook at any point in time, then Twitch can throw out some couple shots, his cask, get the expunge off. Twitch has options to do something when Thresh gets a hook because there is that suppression time. Plus, if he gets it onto Jinx, then Thresh has the option to go for the all-in, get on top of her, be the front line while Twitch just dishes out damage, throw out the lantern, once again getting Twitch closer into the position. It's just a much superior support champion, especially when it's with a bad pairing like Jinx. If, say, it had been Lucian or Corki, then Lucian and Corki could have timed their damage spells to the Blitz hook so that you can get a good amount of burst damage and stop the engagement of Thresh from there. Or make sure that even if the lantern is clicked to get away, the Twitch still takes damage. Blitz is just not good synergy with Jinx. So as the match has still gone on, we still see a lot more playing around, but Samsung White are way, way ahead. They're honestly not even trying to win this match. They're just out to get kills, make flashy plays, and, enjoy. We do see a good hook from Blitz. Catches Lee Sin in his almost escape. Samsung White could have won this already. They really probably could have taken this game and turned it into a 18-19 minute win if they had tried really hard. They definitely have enough gold. They could have be at 35,000 and still be winning. If they had just pushed objectives, forced down, gone as a 5-man group and forced down the base, probably could have won right now. However, they're all just kind of doing their own thing. it is a little bit of cockiness, but AHQ needs to be ahead to even be able to attempt to stop Samsung White's team. Samsung White would have to like AFK for 20 minutes. So, I mean, I don't think I have too much more to say at the moment. If you want to go ahead and move on to the next video or whatever, take care. Notes for this match and link to the portal page for all of my 2014 videos and notes are in the notes of this video. You can go check those out. If you want to hang around, I will keep talking and come up with something. I really wish there was some way that AHQ could win. I mean, everything is about blitz hooks, but he would need to hit like 3 people. So there's the problem. He gets one of the frontliners and he doesn't do anything. He's just dead. Well, that's what I was going to talk about. That's something I can talk about in this team competition. One of the reasons why I don't like blitz in this team competition, aside from lacking disengage, is the fact that if he pulls Maokai or Lee Sin, he is starting the fight for Samsung White. Pull Maokai, Maokai goes into the middle of the team, does his knock-up, Yasuo goes in. Pull Lee Sin can flash Dragon's Rage kick, knock somebody into Samsung White's team, or he can just do his Dragon Rage and try and hit multiple people on AHQ, allowing Yasuo the opportunity to go in and get the multi-man ultimate. Yeah, Blitzcrank just very deadly pick even for his own team. He gets the wrong grab in the wrong situation. He loses the fight for his team. Very risky, not a lot of rewards in this match. So that's it. Well, thanks for listening. Once again, I'm Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers. I hope this was insightful, even though the game was over very early. I hope there was some knowledge gained, or at least I was entertaining. Thank you, and I hope you watch more of my videos. Bye.